second stop, but here, and I've heard that at the other stop too in Shelby County, insurance, we need insurance to respond because that's the first stop. So we need to understand what insurance is going to cover and what they're not going to cover, and then that kicks in some of the other options. The water treatment plan is a top priority, and so we're trying to work towards a PA. So that's also what we're working on. We did, John got that information sent in yesterday, so FEMA is reviewing it. So we're hoping we'll get, some indication whether that kicks in or not. That'll help with the water treatment plan as well. So that will be helpful in a lot of areas. So we'll hopefully get some good news on that. FEMA has set up Fed Reach, which I'm very excited about, because one of the things we hear is just there's so many silos, and these individuals are already in crisis, and they're going from one agency to the next, and having to repeat the story, and just a lot of uncertainty. And so they've brought all of the agencies together, and then they'll sit down as a team, a holistic approach, and then they'll go and say, here's some of the things we need. What do you have to offer? USDA, what do you have to offer? And so honestly, that just has to happen. At some point, we talked about at the other meeting, we need one consistent intake form, again, to eliminate the refilling out of all of the paperwork at each one of the agencies as well. So we want this town to succeed. We want people to stay. We want to get them up and going, and that means businesses, that means business, that means housing, that means the water treatment plant, and just making sure that we're making all of the available resources available to them so they can make decisions based on options, I guess, that you have.
Yeah.
Governor, some people here, to your point, they've lost their home and they don't have enough money to rebuild. I talked to one woman who said she doesn't feel like the government is doing enough to help. She thinks people feel like they've been left behind. What's your message to those people about what the government can do to help them?
Well, first you have to be insured, and they have insurance, but they're underinsured, so that's an issue too. So once we get the insurance kicked in and we understand what they do cover, then we start looking at what some of those other options are. And it is a holistic approach. So, the city has a role to play, the county has a role to play, the state has a role to play, and the federal government has a role to play. And so we need to streamline the process. We need to get that information to them as quickly as possible. I think that's a lot of the frustration. It just sometimes when you're working with government and with bureaucracy, it takes way longer than it should. It's a frustration of mine, to be quite honest. That's why I'm condensing my agencies, doing realignment, because that takes time when you have to work through all of those agencies. And people, they're hurting, just like you indicated. She's just trying to get her life back together. She's trying to survive and go on. Or we have businesses that want to build back better, and there's so many restrictions even to that, to maybe take this opportunity to be more innovative, to maybe put some, lots of different options that you could do. So solar on a hog farm. There's things that we can help mitigate and help with, but it's getting them the information quicker, getting the insurance agencies to respond so we know where they're at, and then, talking about different options that we can put together from a city, county, or state perspective to help with some of the delta, and it's probably going to take stacking the funding in all of those areas.
Quick follow-up on that, just a tangible, for those people who are like, okay, but where do I go? What do I do? And how soon could I see that?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't. That's why I'm here, to understand that better, to really keep pushing people. We have, John, talk about the team that we have show up here, the MARC team that brings all the agencies together. I think that's really important and helpful because they can actually go from individual to individual and ask the bankers, whatever, but talk about what we do.
What she's referring to is a multi-agency coordination center, and so what it is it brings in a variety of local agencies that can help, state agencies that can help, federal agencies that can help, and it kind of becomes a one-stop shop for those survivors that have gotten through this disaster to help them get set up a little bit better as we go forward. The challenge becomes is that we've had the disaster, they're working through their insurance if they've got that. What happens as we go forward into the future, and that's why you see Administrator Spillers from Region 7 up here as well. Her team, we keep them all engaged. So as we identify the need, we talk to the mayor. The mayor says, hey, I see a shortfall in here in my city with my survivors. He reaches out through Doug Reed, the coordinator, and says, hey, we need help with this. We as a team get together and come together and help address that need. So as the mayor stays in tune, and he's very much in tune with his survivors, he feeds us information, and we help him get through this situation to help his citizens get through it as well.
But we have the Board of Supervisors here, we have FEMA here, Homeland, we have a legislator here, senators here, so he can take it back to the legislature and talk about what the unmet needs are as well, right? You've been at all of the meetings.
Sure, it's important to stay informed so we know what they need. So I'm here to find out what they need so we can respond. And there's got to be an order to things, so you get where you're waiting and waiting, but at some point you can work through it, get to where
You got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
For the mayor, what's the big thing that needs to happen? When you heard you talking about the water treatment plant, what needs to happen with that? How many homes still need to be kind of torn down or assessed? Where are things at?
I think we're down to 11 homes down now, and we got 9 businesses or somewhere in there down. We're trying to save the ones that are here yet, and their insurance company is kind of dicking them around a little bit. We need to. I don't know. I mean, it's been a month and a half. I mean, if the building is on the ground, it's a total loss, I would think. But I guess they need a structure engineer to tell them that. So it makes no sense to me. But they need to just get off the fence and give them some answers so they can go the next step.
I mean, I think you can sense his frustration. So think if you're that business owner or that homeowner and he's trying to put together a plan from the city perspective to meet the need.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Last question.
Governor, with 11 disasters across the U.S. this year, they're thinking it could be worse by the end of the summer. There's some reporting that FEMA could be in the red by the end of the summer. Are you in touch with the Iowa congressional delegation to secure more funding in Congress for FEMA to make sure FEMA doesn't?
Well, we're always working with our federal delegation. I mean, they can really help push on some of the agencies too, or just help with the coordination. So, of course, they're very engaged and will continue to do what they can. FEMA will meet the needs. They'll be able to address the disasters as they take place, but it is a limited source, and so we have to take that into consideration. And we need Congress to act on that as they move forward. It's not something that's gone very smoothly, but hopefully we can get some consensus in that direction.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.